What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Today we are going to do a little upgrade on the truck. This is something that a lot of the Ram 2500s have an issue with. I thought the only way to correct it was to buy a whole center console lid or to put like a cover on it, but you can see the issue. The top of it's all getting cracked up. I mean, the truck's got just over 200,000 miles. That's a lot of drive time. That's right where your elbow sits when you're driving down the road, and eventually it just gets all dried up and cracked. We found something on Amazon that we're going to try to do to this, and it's actually a whole replacement. It's actually a replacement cover. So it's not a cover that goes over the top of your messed up console, but it actually, this cover, this upholstery cover is going to come off, and a new upholstery cover goes right back on in place of it. It doesn't look real hard to do, so we'll walk you through it and see how difficult it is. So all you have to do to get this off is take out these 4 screws along the back, and that's going to let you remove the whole console lid. So we're going to get those off. It's just these 4 very small screws. And then that'll just let that whole lid come off. So that's all there is to that. Now we're going to go inside and show you how to get this part removed and get this cover off. Alright, so I've got our new cover opened up here from Amazon. I'll leave a link to this in the description. And basically it's pretty straightforward. It's going to come with a little pry tool. It's going to help you pry this bottom section off. That's the tool I send you to help pry the cover off. Comes with your installation instructions here, and then of course the new cover. And I mean, you can see the color. I mean, the color matches almost perfect. I mean, again, this is a 2018 truck, so this thing's got a lot of mileage on it, but color-wise, I mean, it matches incredibly close. Alright, so to start with, we're going to just pry this bottom cover off. There's a tool. It doesn't take much to get that up. That came up pretty easy. So that just snaps in place, and once you get it going, you can almost get your hand under there and try to work it up. There we go. So a little tough to pry off for sure. It just kind of snaps into these clips. Looks like maybe only one of them broke off. So the ones against here are pretty tough to do. Alright, after we got that off, we went ahead and pulled these 4 screws out to hold this hinge on. So now you have access to the whole bottom of the console. Finally get to get this quarter out that's been flopping around in here forever. Alright, next it says to take off, the instructions are telling me to take out 6 star socket screws on the latch. I don't see star socket screws. I've got a couple Phillips head screws here. We'll pull those out. Alright, and then there's some screws. You have the 2 here. They're pretty easy to see. And there's a couple buried way up here by the edge. And way up there by the edge. Alright, so once you have these 4 screws out, that's going to let you remove the trim piece on the back. So you're just going to pry up from the back and kind of start to slide that out. So now your trim piece comes off around the latch, and that's going to allow you to basically take this cover completely off the actual center console lid. So now we're just going to pop these staples out so it is also stapled in. So we're just going to get this out from around the staples. And then it's kind of cut through here, so it kind of is under this little tab, so just take it off the tab. Make sure to get it out from underneath all the staples. Alright, all the staples are out. There's only about 4 that hold it in. And I should be able to peel this right off the whole console now. Comes off from the back first and then toward the front. And there you go. So we've got our old cover off. See where it was all beat up. So now we're basically just going to do this whole thing in reverse and put it back on. Alright, you've got it around the latch. You want to make sure that your foam stays in place. It has these big notches that it sits in to stay down flat. So make sure it stays in place. And we'll just flip it over. Try to stretch this all the way around on the sides. Sucker fits tight, that's for sure. There we go. So there's the new lid. So you're going to want to line it up so that your seams are on the edges. Seems like this one's pretty close, so it should kind of tuck around and roll around the edge like this, so that all your holes for when you snap your bottom piece back on line up. Now we're going to go ahead and put our trim back on the front. So we're just going to kind of wedge that back down in between there. Push it down in behind the latch. Make sure that we get it all the way down so there's no gap behind our latch right here. And once we get that down in there, we'll go ahead and put screws back in to hold it in place. And as I'm putting those in, I can feel that trim around the latch starting to tighten up. And now you can see we have it's nice and snug right around the top. No gaps. And the latch moves free. The next thing we're going to do is cut little slits in this black felt so that we can hook it into these little tabs to keep this down while we put everything back in place. So take my razor knife, I've got one up here. Hook one there. Alright, so it's got everything held down here. This is going to just tuck in down here around the latch, and then once we put our bottom cover back on, that'll hold all this in place. So now we're going to fold our sponge piece down. There's 2 pre-cut slots in it, and we're just going to hook those around these 2 little tabs here to hold the sponge in place. Alright, so now we're ready to put our bottom back on. You can see, I mean, that's a pretty good fit. I'm no upholstery guy. I've never really done upholstery before, so I'm sure if you have done upholstery before, you might be able to get it a little tighter, but I'll tell you what, that looks pretty dang good to me. Alright, hinge is back on. This hinge does have a certain way that it goes. You can see the holes, spacings for the one that mounts onto the actual center console itself. These holes are larger and in a different location than the little small holes that line up on the bottom of your lid. So just make sure you don't put it on backwards. Now we're going to snap our bottom back in place. Gotta make sure everything's folded in. Start popping it down. There it is. It's all reassembled. Make sure everything's down all the way. Looks like it is. Alright, so we'll go reinstall it on the truck and see if this thing shuts nice and snug like it's supposed to. I don't see why it wouldn't. That was really not very difficult to do. Takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience trying to get all this stretched back over the lid, but man, that's going to make such a difference. That old lid was starting to stab me in the elbow when I put it on the console from all those little sharp edges of the vinyl that has started to chip off. So, all right, let's go get this reinstalled. All right, so we're just going to line this back up. When you get to this point, you'll know if you put that hinge on backwards because your little line-up holes won't match, and then you'll be really upset because you're gonna have to take that back apart to fix it. All right, there it is. Nice new console lid. And like I said, the color matches perfect. I mean, it is incredibly close. No gaps around the latch. I mean, that's as close to an OEM fit as you're gonna get. I mean, shuts nice and tight. So that's it. That's all there is to it. If you have, they make these for other vehicles also. So if you have a vehicle and the center console lid is starting to get cracked and just look terrible, or stab you in the elbow like ours was, I highly recommend ordering this this cover. Like I said, I'm going to leave a link to it in the description. And man, definitely well worth the time and minimal amount of effort to make such an improvement in the way the interior of the truck looks, and just your overall comfort when you're riding and got to set your elbow on that console. That's going to do it for now. We appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you guys down the road.